Welcome, climate viewers, to another Sunday chat. This is not going to be a nice one. I'm at my wit's end right now with a certain Dane Wigington of GeoengineeringWatch.org. And I think it's going to be really obvious to all of you why. Tom McDonough, Jamie Lee of Plain Truth has made some interesting comments about Dane. Well, how about that? He just in chat said exactly where we're gonna start. And then we're gonna work our way back. And then we're gonna talk about all of the articles and videos that I deleted about Dane Wigington because everybody wants peace. And everybody says, why can't we all just get along? Like you're freaking Rodney King or something. Well, I'm gonna introduce you hardcore Jim Lee style to the reality of the situation in this community, this chemtrail community. It has never been a community. If anything, it's been a bunch of egomaniacs, each individually doing their own thing, butting heads at every single possibility, and nothing good will ever come of this as far as I can tell. Now, you may be wondering, hey, Jim, why now? What's so special? Why did you pick this Sunday to rant about Dane Wigington? Well, guess what? I was kind of prompted by Jamie Lee, James W. Lee, not James F. Lee Jr., that's me, but there's another James Lee out there, Jamie Lee, Plain Truth. He put a video out and it really resonated with me. So I figured, you know, what the hell? Let's talk about it, because I'm at the point now where I cannot take the scumbaggery of Dane Wigington any longer. As some of you may know, I've been working with Renette Senham on a geoengineering lawsuit. I'm trying to provide her with the best possible information so they have the most chance of winning their lawsuit. And hopefully this lawsuit will, you know, spread into bigger categories. We're going to start small and work up bigger. Dane took it upon himself to copyright claim Renette, who's just new to the game, didn't know what was going on, didn't understand. And I had a conversation with her and I said, you don't know who Dane is, but this is typical. This is how Dane has always operated. And basically he's got this lawyer, Julio Gomez. He, you know, threatened her in an email with, you know, a lawsuit. He's threatened me with the same letter from his lawyer. Jamie Lee in the video you're about to see will have the exact same lawyer letter. And I have all the receipts. Over the past 15 years, I've kept the receipts on all of these people for a reason. Because you knew it was coming. So let's just jump into that. You know, if you can donate. I don't really give a crap at this point. ClimateViewer.com, all my stuff's on there, weather modification history, timeline, and newspapers, all the information you could possibly want to know about this subject, and links to donate there. If you're watching this anywhere else, I'm doing this bitching tonight on youtube.com at ClimateViewer, and that's where I do my live videos right now. Hopefully in the near future, I'm going to be able to multitask and, you know, broadcast on all the things. Maybe I'll use Restream or something like that, but that's the point. We'll get to that. So let's just get right into it. If you didn't know, recently I did a video where Dane Wigington was, interviewed by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And this German blog basically put it like this. I think I literally never checked my Facebook messages, and I got this, and this kind of sums it up very nicely. U.S. presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. interviewed chemtrail activist Dane Wigington on the topic of, is climate engineering real? Geoengineering expert Jim Lee, whose work is cited by universities including MIT and which follows the research of alternative Nobel laureate Rosalie Bertell, facts. Rosalie Bertell and Rosalind Peterson were my heroes. I studied everything they ever wrote before, I really got into all of this. Anyway, who followed Rosalie Bertell, dismantles Wigington's claims in this highly revealing interview analysis, refuting Wigington's claims about the dubious pumps and pipes in chemtrails aircraft and their alleged spraying actions, and exposing Wigington's role as chemtrail scaremonger and climate emergency gatekeeper. I think that pretty much says it all. If you have not already watched this, just a heads up. It was Harold Save, another person who's been jaded by Wigington, that pointed out to me that Dane literally hijacked this video. This was originally recorded back in February on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s blog on his, whatever, his website. And at the time, he was not a presidential candidate. So then Dane waits till now, pays his video editor to put together all of these, pictures over top of it, and then titles it U.S. presidential candidate for clout chasing. But at the time, I'm pretty sure that if Dane was if RFK was already a presidential candidate, he wouldn't be having Dane on. This was before that. But now Dane's, being interviewed by a U.S. presidential candidate, and that makes him more credible because credibility matters, right, Dane? Anyway, so this is the video that really prompted this discussion, and I'm going to let Jamie Lee say it himself. I reached out to him via email. I left a message, multiple in here, and I even left my phone number, but apparently the only comment that got left was burn, because for some reason, my phone number and my email kept getting deleted automatically. Whether it's YouTube or whether Jamie did it, I don't really care, but I'm still going to share his video. So here we go.
Hey folks, welcome to another video from a plaintruth.info. I need to get this out. I need to get this off my chest, and I need to warn people about GeoengineeringWatch. It's become irrelevant and pretty much obsolete as far as being relevant to the conditions and what we're seeing happening in our skies, in our weather, in the massive super firestorms created by directed energy weapons. So this is an article from Dane Wigington at GeoengineeringWatch. Dane is a public figure. I've known Dane since 2005. I'll get into that in a minute, but he just did a big hit piece and kind of came after me too. Took on flat earthers, which he refuses to talk to me about, and basically is saying that these fires are just normal because the winds are creeping up, and it's also due to geoengineering.
What the hell? I swear, you turn the thing off for one day, and then suddenly everything just goes to shit on you. Let me get my screen picture working right. It's supposed to be this screen. Thank you very much. So I just want to go ahead and say this. You guys know how much I've, picked on the whole flat earth theory. And I'm still open to suggestion. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with a plain truth on flat earth. However, on directed energy weapons, I've been covering that for years. Directed energy weapons are real. This is irrefutable proof. But Dane says, no, that's not a thing. But let's continue.
Engineering, and that's what's causing it. Cars to flip over on their roofs, and ball fields to have lines through the middle of their fields, and homes being cut directly in half, and buildings being taken down with heavy metal iron melted, and glass melted, and steel rims melted, and
Yeah, because that's just normal, right? That's not, that's completely just regular forest fires do that sort of stuff.
He's saying, oh, it's just the convection from the fires and whatnot. Nothing to do with lasers, nothing to do with technology whatsoever. So I want to get into a little bit more of my history with Dane. He used to publish my work. Here's one of my is my taboo blog from 2013. He's published all of my articles in the sites, and then he's never really supported me, but he was using my work. And if you'll notice, in his site now, do you see anybody else's work he promotes? Anybody else at all? He's been promoting Vax, the Vax. He had guys, Wakefield and everything come by. Do you see any Vaxxed articles? No, you don't. All you see on Dane's website is about Dane. Every article is about Dane. Dane's book, don't buy it, folks. It's terrible. Dane's book is terrible. I bought it for $25. I wish I could return it. All it is Dane's essays. All it talks about is Dane. This is his site. It's My Way or the Highway, Dane's site, and he gets into this ridiculous saying that it's climate change and it's global engineering and that's it, and the fires are nothing really too unusual, and we'll get into that in a second. But like I said, I've known Dane for a very long time. Here, let me get this picture here. This is me working at the Geoengineering booth in Sonoma. Jamie Lee here with Melanie Moran, and I'm working at the booth helping promote Dane, as I did since 2007 when I first met Dane in Redding at his property. I actually bought 93 acres from him down the road. It was a homesteaded property on Backbone Ridge. I was planning on moving up there. Dane came across as extremely eloquent, a man's man, very straightforward. I had no reason to doubt him whatsoever. But then I noticed when I started to possibly move up there, he had a lot of conflicts with a bunch of neighbors. And I soon to see that pattern of Dane conflicting with not just anyone, but everyone, including finally it happened to me. Dane and I were friends. We used to talk hours and hours and hours on the phone. And I was his amigo, as I said, handed out thousands and thousands of his flyers, thousands and thousands of his DVDs, and supported him. I flew down to Los Angeles to support him in a speak he gave down there. I drove up to Redding to support him in talks. I brought apples and pears from my farm to feed the movement and whatnot. So the thanks I get from Dane is he says, we got to sound the alarm. We got to provide credible data. We got to get the message out. So I said, okay, I'm going to write a book because Dane's, on this geoengineering, and I got it out. So I go and I start to write a book, and I send Dane the first few writings of it, no response. I finished kind of the first edition of the manuscript, send it to Dane, no response. He won't even look at my book. He won't even talk to me about my book. I spent 2 years writing this book because Dane told me we needed to sound the alarm in our own way. And this man will not even look at my book. He still to this day has not looked at my book. Like I said, Dane does not support anybody else's work. As far as not supporting people, Dane will not cover targeted individuals. He'll not cover any psychotronic weaponry that's caused by geoengineering as well.
And I want to pause right here because if you don't know who Bye Bye Blue Sky is, this is Suzanne Marr. So if you recall back in the day, there was the Mount Shasta hearing. Let me tell you the backstory on this. So what actually happened was Suzanne Marr is the one who, from Bye Bye Blue Sky, she was the one who actually organized the meeting with the government officials at Mount Shasta. What happened was Dane Wigington came in as a speaker, but then brought like 8 or 9 other speakers with him and an entire camera crew, and then basically hijacked her meeting. I heard this is from me talking to Suzanne Marr directly on the phone. Numerous other individuals who live in the hometown with Dane, know him personally, have reached out to me over the years. Everything he is saying right now is 100% true.
Well, this wonderful lady, Suzanne Mayer, is being attacked with psychotronic weaponry, using geoengineering, using frequencies that's part of the scalar waves they use in the sky, the HAARP system, and she's being attacked. Can Dane be bothered to reach out to help him? No. And what did Dane do to Michael Murphy, his former business partner at What in the World Are We Spraying? Well, when they came out with a second movie, Dane pulled his funding to Mr. Michael Murphy, and also he attacked him. This is Mr. Murphy here. And Dane went after, he called Michael Murphy's family. Michael has an addiction problem, and it was accelerated because Dane went after him and called his family and started talking about what the addictions Michael Murphy had and made up a bunch of lies on him and basically sent Michael Murphy to drinking, and I think he's still destitute. I think he's still having problems. And what about Billy Hayes? He's being...
All right, stop. Pause. I think he's still destitute. If you don't know this, Michael Murphy is dead. Michael Murphy died. I don't know how that missed, I don't know how Jamie Lee missed this. But this is just fact. For those who don't know this, Michael J. Murphy has died on Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. Now, he's going to tell you that basically Dane reached out, to all of Michael J. Murphy's family members. And I'm going to pull some up on the other screen over here. He reached out to all of his family members when the guy who made What in the World Are They Spraying, when the guy who literally made the film that made Dane famous was going to make his second film. Yes, Dane put some money into the first film, but it was largely produced by Reality Zone, which is G. Edward Griffin. And G. Edward Griffin told me personally that he wished that he had never allowed Dane in that movie because he created a monster. And what did Dane do when Michael needed help the most? The guy who literally created, Michael Murphy created Dane Wigington. You would not know his freaking name if it weren't for this man right here. He went and bashed him all over the internet. He went and he wrote articles about it, setting the record straight for those who truly care about the battle to stop climate engineering. I've got a couple of these links in the details. I couldn't possibly, because a lot of this stuff is literally backed up on my hard drive. And apparently Wayback Machine just decided it wasn't going to work tonight when I was looking up the stuff that I, backed up on all of this, which is completely ironic. It just spins. It doesn't do anything. I got a gigabyte per second. It's not my internet. But it ain't working tonight, coincidentally. Anyway, Dane Wigington goes right down here. Michael Murphy, Kim Moore, and Weather War 101. It's a threefer, people. He's literally going to shit on 3 different people in one post just to respond to all the people who hate his guts. And he goes on in here to say, for the record, I have had no contact with Bechtel over the 30 years, and I certainly have none with the government ever. Though Michael Murphy and others have accused me of owning Bechtel stock, that is a complete lie. I have never owned a single share of Bechtel stock or any other stock from any company. Michael was soliciting funds from people without disclosing his addiction. On several occasions, when asked, I had no choice but to tell them the truth as kindly and careful as I could. Was this not my obligation? No, it wasn't your obligation, you motherfucker. You're a piece of shit. You are literally a human walking piece of shit for what you did to Michael Murphy. You and God are going to have to work this one out. But between me and you, fuck you, Dane Wigington, for what you did to Michael Murphy. That man made you, and you destroyed him with your reach, with your power, with your voice, with your vanity. Dane Wigington killed Michael Murphy. But let Jamie Lee tell you all about it.
Being hit with psychotronic weaponry as well for disclosing HAARP. You sent Michael Murphy to drinking, and I think he's still destitute. I think he's still having problems. And what about
To clarify in chat, Dane Wigington killed Michael Murphy. No, he didn't physically kill him. But Dane, when you're already in a vulnerable place, when you're already having a really tough time, and you may and he had an addiction problem, do you think that it's helpful to send somebody flying over the edge by taking away the one passion they had? He made his second film. He was going to make his third film. I'm going to show you something that nobody's ever seen. The last words that were said to me by Michael Murphy. So I'm going to scroll up real quick. I've got this up on the screen. Give me 1 second. And here we go. What's up, Jim? I'm in production with my third and final film. This was January 21st, 2016. I'm in my final film about geoengineering. I would like to include some information about aluminum and other related materials in jet fuel. Now, you guys, anybody who follows my channel knows that I talk a lot about jet fuel. This is my area of expertise. This is what I focus the most on because that's where all the metals are. So people sent him my way, and he says, do you have any university or other studies that you might be able to send me? My email is right here. And I said, certainly. And I started sending him, all the journal entries. I said, those are where the aluminum are. Effects of barium fuel additive and fuel sulfur level on diesel particulate matter. I said, that's barium status 450. My website got hacked and all my research is down right now. At the time, the beautiful people from US Cyber CENTCOM at Fort Huachuca in the United States Air Force, they destroyed 3 of the 4 RAID hard drives in an array. So much so that my WordPress website was deleted completely from the internet and all backups of it. So I had to revert to a Blu-ray that I had burned, and I decided to create my website from scratch. So at the time of this conversation, my website had been hacked from the internet by the US government. Just so you're wondering why I'm saying this stuff. I said my website got hacked and all my research is down right now. Trying to get the site back up, but I would love to call you tonight. Here's my number. I don't give this number out publicly. This is no longer my cell phone number, so I don't really give a shit if y'all see it. But anyway, he said, Jim, please reply with your phone number if you're available. Thanks. Oh, I see you already did. I'll call you in a few. And we talked for about 3 hours on the phone. And during that conversation, I was sending him links to the things that, basically prove the fact that it is jet fuel. There is carbon black dust. The military uses carbon black dust. All of the different, pictures, this is straight from the military, weather modification using carbon black. When he saw this stuff, he's like, this is what the film's going to be about. The film is going to be about this, period. And his third film was going to be called Unconventional Gray. For those who don't know this, his film was going to be called Unconventional Gray, un as in UN, capitalized. Look it up. You'll see. Unconventional Gray. There's even people right now out there trying to revive this film in honor of Michael Murphy and get it made. I'm Poe people from South Carolina, so I can't make no damn documentary. But I'd love to be, a technical advisor on it because I could give them all the facts they could possibly need on it. Right after this conversation I had with him, and he was perfectly coherent. He was right on point. He understood everything I was saying. It was 2 to 3 months later that he appeared on Facebook completely freaking incoherent. And I don't think that it's just a coincidence. I don't think that Michael Murphy just suddenly up and decided, you know what? Screw the movie. I'm going to put it all up my nose like Dane says. Or started drinking so much alcohol that he was unintelligible. I think that something much more nefarious happened. That's just my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And then you combine that with the fact that Dane was actively trying to destroy his reputation online. And what do you get? That's what you get. You get, a dead guy 4 years later, homeless and dead. So, no, Dane did not literally kill him. So don't try to sue me for defamation, you dumb motherfucker. Dane, you pushed him over the edge, and you know damn well you did it, and you did it with reputation destroying, by destroying his reputation. Receipts, all that, it's all there. You can go look it up. Many people saying it, but let him continue. Next, he's going to talk about Billy Hayes, another friend of mine. What happened to Suzanne? As far as I know, last time I talked, she closed down the Bye Bye Blue Sky Facebook page. I think she even made me a moderator of it before she quit. She also was being targeted. And as far as I know, Suzanne, left the biz. Same thing with Matt Landman. He had his third Chemtrail summit and invited Alana Freeland and Clifford Carnicom. And all of them, all three of the people I just mentioned, had heart palpitations and all kinds of problems. And Matt Landman quit talking about chemtrails, and now he sells EMF suits and hoodies and things like that to protect you from being targeted. There's a serious pattern of this going on. I won't get into my personal problems right now, but I've been suffering from migraines. I'm actually going for an MRI on the 10th of my brain and my spine. I've already had my thyroid nuked out and then finally cut out. It's a tough road to hoe. But, next he talks about Billy Hayes. Billy Hayes was Alana Freeland's right-hand man talking about HAARP. And once again, Jamie Lee, gets this wrong. Billy Hayes also is dead.
Billy Hayes, he's being hit with psychotronic weaponry as well for disclosing HAARP. Do you see Mr. Wigington coming in and helping him in any way, shape, or form? No, he doesn't help anybody. And we've all been pleading for him to help Chris Haskell, because Chris Haskell here is...
And now he's going to talk about Chris Haskell. And Haskell Films, his YouTube channel, was literally in my last live chat. And I was like, holy shit, it's Chris Haskell. And then, of course, nobody in the chat knew who he was. He knows who I am. I know who he is. And just like Jamie's talking now, if you've been in this game for a while, you know all the people. You know every single one of them. Whether you've had direct conversations or not, we all know each other, and we all know what each other says. It's inevitable.
Facing a world of...
But real quick on the Billy Hayes thing. Billy Hayes ended up dying destitute, alone in a VA hospital. And my friend, John Hart Crane, you'll see him on YouTube, was in constant contact with me. We were trying to get him out of the VA hospital and into a home. So at least he wouldn't die alone. He could be with his family. It's sad. I see people mentioning Patrick Roddy. It's kind of ironic. I went to the EPA hearing in 2015. Of course, that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that in a moment, with how Dane, and Russ Tanner basically, and the HAARP report, all three of these, prominent chemtrail / harpers, attacked the entire group of people that went up to Washington, D.C. Now, why would they do that? If, I'm like, friendly fire, same team. What's going on here? Why are y'all doing this? Oh, hey, there's Jim Lee's talking about jet fuel, and Max Bliss is up there, making the EPA, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. Max Bliss had his YouTube channel deleted by the Danester. In fact, the original video that had this picture, this picture, this is from an old video. And even though I deleted the video, I still have the video. This is back when Jim Lee had a thyroid problem. As you can see, that's one thick ass neck right there. And I'm about 125 pounds. But what did Dane Wigington do to Max Bliss? This.
Well, I had to look into that, and it turns out Max does have a backup channel. Max Bliss.
Dane Wigington, he took out Max Bliss's channel. And you can watch this guy's video. This is a real video.
Okay, this is going to be short. I was going through my subscriptions this morning and saw this from Chemtrails, Alaska. He says, Mr. Max Bliss has been terminated. Well, I had to look into that, and it turns out Max does have a backup channel. But look at this. Look at this. I hope it picks it up. It says right here, friends, it is disturbing and very disappointing. I now have reason to believe that Dane Wigington flagged a copyright claim on a video of the Mount Shasta public meeting on chemtrails. Now, did Dane video that? Because I've seen it posted on many channels. I had uploaded a video and created the uploader as I always do. I did not realize the uploader had re-edited a shorter version of Dane's video as it was not credited. And Dane appears to have targeted me for other versions still up. This action has now terminated my account. All for the greater good, Dane? Really? Really? Look at this.
Bam.
Look at this.
Scumbag. That's your Dane Wigington right there. That's your
I uploaded a video and created.
Anyway, let me go to this real quick. So yeah, I actually called Dane Wigington after this. And I said, Dane, Max is on the same team. You know, Max Bliss is a hard worker. He's always supported you. He's supported me. He's supported everybody. He's never been one of these, you know, lone wolves out there in the chemtrail community. And that Mount Shasta video that he hijacked from Suzanne Marr, if anybody uploaded that to any channel on YouTube, he copyright claimed them. And he copyright claimed Max Bliss. He lost his channel. So I called Dane and I said, Dane, dude, you know, the guy lost his channel. Can you please take it back? I mean, he gave you credit in the details. He said, please go to GeoengineeringWatch, video by Dane Wigington of GeoengineeringWatch. And Dane said to me, swear to God. Well, obviously he had problems and it takes 3 strikes to delete a channel. And just because he had 2 strikes before I submitted a copyright claim against him isn't my problem. And I said, Dane, come on, bro. You know, friendly fire. Can you work this out? He said, no, not no, but hell no. And Max Bliss forevermore had his channel deleted. And there are many of these. Jamie Lee's going to go into it in just a minute. His own personal copyright claim. Guess what? I have a copy of that copyright claim. But just real quick, if anybody wants to know, I want you guys to see who I'm talking about. This is Max Bliss right here. This is Patrick Roddy. This is Amanda Bays, aka Madison Star Moon, and this is me. Of the 4 pictured right here, they're gone. Max Bliss still emails me daily, regularly, since 2015 when we went and testified at the EPA. Patrick Roddy became sick, became homeless, stopped spraying us San Francisco, disappeared. Amanda Bays, Madison Star Moon, pretty much disappeared as well. And then there's me. I don't know why the hell I'm still here, but I am. Lucky me. So anyway, let's let his video continue because Chris Haskell is another one.
Chris Haskell is the most successful geoengineer activist we've ever had, putting up thousands and thousands of signs in Tucson, Arizona, where David Keith wanted to begin geoengineering practices by a trial balloon in 2014. And Mr. Haskell had been so successful in geoengineering. He was sounding the alarm so great that Tucson police, the FBI, the bioterrorism unit, the NSA came with helicopters, came with tanks, came with police dogs that put him in the hospital. And
I was there for this. I remember all of this. I remember eating this up live on Facebook, doing videos saying support Chris Haskell, all of that. There he is in chat. We're talking about you, Haskell Films. You see him right there, the man, the myth, the legend. He knows. He knows what this is about. Am I right, Chris? Let me know. Is Jamie telling the truth?
He's facing 6 felony accounts where they planted white powder that the government and the filings by the FBI themselves say that powder is harmless, but he's still facing 6 felony accounts equal to the equivalent of murder, 15 to 20 years prison time if convicted. He goes on the trial next month. Mr. Wigington was on a public conference call last week. He was asked about supporting Mr. Haskell. He says, well, do you think I have time to support him? And he also said, I've seen Mr. Haskell powder, that Mr. Haskell admitted the powder in one of his videos. And I talked to Chris Haskell. I asked him that. He says, absolutely not. I had nothing to do with the powder. So where Mr. Wigington's getting his evidence, why he won't help a fellow activist in action, the most successful geoengineering activist, because Mr. Wigington doesn't help anybody else. And so
facts, freaking facts. And just for anybody wondering at home, is that true, Chris? Let them know, and I'll bring up the chat right there. Haskell Films in chat right now, live. I asked him, I said, is what he's saying true? There he is right there. Make it even bigger. Yes, it's true. That's Chris Haskell right there in the chat. It's true. Moving back. What a piece of shit.
So this is why I want people to be steering away from him. He is not helping the cause at all. So this is from Mr. Wigington's brother, Van Wigington.
Don't take it from us. Don't take it from Chris, who's in chat. Don't take it from me. How about Van Wigington, Dane's own brother? You want to hear it from him?
And this was posted, I think it was back in October 29th, 2015, talking about Dane, his brother. Dane moved to Redding in 2000 from Kingsman, Arizona, where he lived for about 5 years. How many of you know Dane's background? How many of you know Dane's experience? And how is Dane qualified? How is Mr. Wigington be speaking as an expert on geoengineering? What is his background? Well, his brother says Dane moved to Redding because of his concern about his having access to water and wishing to live in a wetter area. Back then, chemtrails geoengineering was not even on the radar. There was no personal tragedy, at least none that he know of, and I was in regular close contact with him. He is not an alternative energy expert as he is cited at times. So what is Mr. Wigington? Well, according to Mr. Wigington himself, let's bring that up, hang on. Dane Wigington's background is in renewable energy, being formerly employed with Bechtel Corp. His personal off-grid residence was featured as the cover article in the world's largest renewable energy magazine. That's it. Solar energy expert, solar engineer, alternative energy expert, etc. He allows this mischaracterization of his actual experience. Dane owns a large home and it required a large solar system. He hired a solar installation contractor to do the work, and Dane helped him with putting in the installation. Dane used to be a union electrician, and they got hired into various projects, and one of them was Solar One facility. near Barstow, California. That's in Daggett Valley. It was a Bechtel project, so he was just a basic electrician hired along with many other types of contractors to work on the building. He cites that he was a Bechtel employee, so perhaps this company temporarily assigns employee status to contractors who work on the project. I was an electrician.
He doesn't even work. How many times have you heard Dane say, well, I'm former Bechtel, I'm a solar expert and all of this? He never even worked for Bechtel. He made that part up. Jesus.
Electrical contractor for many years working on home construction, but this arrangement made by an employee of their company this arrangement never made me an employee of their company. Why would they? What benefit? I see in the way he is referenced in his various presentations that Dane somehow is some high-up solar engineer who did work with Bechtel. I think that Dane purposely allows this type of mischaracterization of his background, seeing as it means to increase his stature and credibility in the eyes of those he conveys his beliefs to. I know of no other experience that Dane has with anything related to solar energy. So do these types of titles apply to one who is just a private citizen with a large solar system installed by an actual solar contractor and who worked as an electrician at a solar energy facility? Great questions. This is written by his brother, and you will talk to Dane. And before I even knew anything about what his brother was saying, Dane was telling me, and he also told other people independently, I have it confirmed, that his brother used to hold him down on the ground and pour lemon into his eyes. He was a mean, mean person. And Dane would offer that up out of nowhere. It was very strange the way he would say it. Now you know why he was saying it, to discredit his brother.
Okay, and I want to add a little something to that. So I hadn't heard this pour, lemons into his eyes thing coming from Dane, but I did hear this from somebody who lives near Dane, that his brother was, beating him up. That basically their father was either absent, or I'm not going to speculate on that. Not my job. But what I was told specifically, and this is kind of creepy, was that Dane's brother would tie him to the chain link fence outside and leave him there all day long. And that the sun would literally blister his skin badly. And this person, who is a prominent person, I verified, because, you guys all know I have a hacking background. Like, I literally looked her up. I saw her address. She does live in the area near him. She talked about being at hearings with him. And she told me that out of his mouth that he said he was tied to the fence and left for hours in the sun, being blistered, and other abuses from his brother. So is it any coincidence that Dane talks a lot about UVB radiation and sunburns? Is there some childhood trauma there? I don't know. You tell me. Let me know in the comments. But kind of gets weird.
And here's further confirmation from Dane's actual site that yes, he did work for background with Bechtel, but a very corrupt corporation. He left at a very early age on the cover of Solar Magazine. So how the heck does he get on InfoWars with Alex Jones? How the heck does he get on the show with Mike Adams at Natural News? You look at my numbers, I've got 5 times, 8 times the numbers on YouTube as Dane Wigington. I don't get any calls from these guys asking me to be on their shows. I got a book on geoengineering. I don't have Jeff Rentz calling me up and saying, hey, Jamie, you got all these numbers. You got this great research on Wall Street. You worked 25 years. Come on my show. How does Dane get on all these shows? And how the heck does Dane get in touch with 2-star generals that are going up against 9/11 and get him on the show like he did with General Stubblebine? How does that happen? Well, it just so happens that Daggett Valley is also a military base where Dane is said to have worked. Isn't that a coincidence? So here's a picture, a Google Earth picture of the military base, the Marine Corps' logistics base, right by where the wet surface air coolers 3 decades ago Mr. Wigington claims to have worked at as a subcontractor solar installer. Now, he supports the 9/11 truth movement, but he does not support the Boston bombing hoax, nor the Sandy Hook hoax, and he claims Las Vegas shootings were real. He knows a Green Beret he refuses or does not name that actually was there and lives were lost, according to him. And you know, people, boy, what they also refuse to cover, besides Boston bombing and the Sandy Hook hoax and whatnot, is what they won't cover. And this is a document from 2005, official document from NASA. I've sent this to Mr. Wigington. He refuses to cover NASA and their Department of Defense strategic war initiatives, including aerosol spraying. It's in their own documents presented by Dennis Bushnell, chief scientist for NASA. Mr. Wigington fails to talk about this, promote it, or discuss it in any way. Why? I don't know. Well, maybe because he uses NASA imagery to make his case about global warming and the geoengineering and what is going down and going on.
So this is an excellent point because, like I said, you know, you could judge a person by what they're willing to cover. So, you know, I just want to point out for the record, if you go to my website, I covered it as well. Not only did I cover the Future Warfare Circa 2025 document, but just like Jamie Lee's talking about, you know, he's got a no-fly zone when it comes to anything directed energy weapons. Let's just put it that way. However, I do not. And if you go right here to the front page, right next to David Miles, where I interviewed him, you will see an article titled Directed Energy Weapons 101. Wrong button. Like that. Directed Energy Weapons 101. And in that, I literally go through all of the directed energy weapons. I also covered the Havana Syndrome and the Moscow Signal and all of the targeted individual stuff. You can see it all on my YouTube channel. These weapons are real. The fact that he won't cover it is kind of weird. I'm not going to say that just completely discredits him, but hell, bro, you should know about directed energy weapons. This is not new news. Does this come across better in black or white? I like dark mode. That's why my website has dark mode. Let me know in chat. Is that more visible or is that better? I like the dark mode. It's easier on my eyes, but like I said, there it is. Future strategic issues, future warfare, circa 2025. And I have a local mirror of it, so you can download it directly from ClimateViewer.com. And there it is. Yes, he will not cover this. This is not in his realm of things to talk about. And I go on to talk about, the Directed Energy Professional Society, 2018 Directed Energy Educational Outreach, and all of the companies that are involved in this technology, which you can see here. Directed energy weapons are real, and they are the future of warfare and weather warfare. And this is all of the directed energy activities in the national facilities. So if you actually go to this, you can actually, very few places are you going to see a document like this where you can, actually see the addresses of the places and all of, I turned that around, obviously. The PDF has it sideways, but regardless, links directly to the documents. These are things that Dane will not cover. There are no fly zones for him. But regardless, microwave directed energy weapons, Moscow Signal, how diplomats have been targeted, DEW technologies. Of course, any video you link to on this topic gets deleted because this video is no longer available. This will burn you alive, U.S. military active denial system. And that's what it looks like right there. So all of these technologies are real. This is Bofors by BAE Systems, the Bofors HPM blackout, all of these things. This is my cup of tea. You talk about lighting fires from space. How about 1968 talking about solar powered satellites that could do things like this? How about Bernard Eastland, inventor of the HAARP, who talked about the Thunderstorm solar powered satellite to beam microwaves into thunderstorms and alter their path? Actual video presentation after he died at the weather modification conference on that, and all of the different weather, the systems, X-ray porno scanners for the FBI to spy inside your home. You want your whole house microwaved. You want to be X-rayed to death? They've got that shit. But anyway, let's let him continue.
So back in around 2000, end of 2014, 2015, Weather Wars 101, who has gone away and no one really knows what happened to him, started bringing up wet surface air coolers, and that wet surface air coolers combined with RF frequency devices, Doppler radar, next radar systems were steering weather, because we had to create weather because we've destroyed our weather making abilities with cloud condensation nuclei. And so he said that, remember, Mr. Wigington has extremely limited science and education, and that he will not deal with wet surface air cooler conversation. Here's Weather War with Sophia Smallstorm when she spoke on it and reported about Weather Wars 101. Made total sense to her that when you see all of these huge wet surface air cooler water vaporization machines putting massive amounts of clouds into the air, you see it all around. These are the wet surface air coolers here. They're all across the country. They're all around the world. So when we confronted and we brought this up, Mr. Wigington came back and said, no, they don't exist. You'd have to have so many tons of water to make these happen, and all this kind of nonsense, when the evidence is extremely overwhelming. Because of all the coal ash and because of all the weather that we've changed through anthropogenic means. Look at this. It's on.
You just heard coal ash. We're going to come back to that in a minute.
The trailer, they have these things. We've destroyed the weather, and the barium is used to create weather modification. Here's Weather 101 showing you how it's done. And there's imagery all over the world showing, look at this, being created out of nowhere, exactly where the wet surface air coolers plants. And this is the Doppler radar that you've seen, the big balls on top of, look like golf balls. There's many different ways. It's the Silver Lining Project that Bill Gates is using. But it's just like water heating a kettle. It creates steam. And what happens to steam? It creates water. So this is how.
That map you're looking at right there, I created that map. Weather War 101. If you go back to his first videos, all of these Doppler radars, all of these markers that were created in Google Earth, I created that. But we won't split hairs.
How they make it, because they have to, because they can't create weather anymore. It's so obvious, it's ridiculous. Yet Mr. Wigington continues to deny, even though he claims 3 decades ago he worked at a wet surface air cooler plant, that you'd need trillions of gallons of water. Well, if we have primary water, and there's all the water supplies that Deborah Tavares has shown at StopTheCrime.net, there's your water problem solved. And the evidence, again, is just extremely overwhelming. Here's the NEXRAD Doppler systems, and here's the golf balls on top. And NOAA, what is NOAA? The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Well, it's also NOAA, the maker of rain and weather. So to say that these are not weather-making machines when the evidence is so overwhelming is just another indictment against the credibility of GeoengineeringWatch.org. Here, take a look at this.
Despite the cost, however, NASA does need to test these engines once in a while. So they built this place.
This is not, and I want to clarify real quick, because what you're about to see is another misunderstanding. No shade thrown to Jamie Lee, but, doesn't understand what he's talking about here. The caption reads, "This is an example of a wet surface air cooler machine creating water vapor to create rain since there is no normal weather any longer." What you're about to see is not a wet surface air cooler. This is the J2X Doghouse rocket. Okay? So this is actually a rocket that's going to create rain. I had this video on my YouTube channel. Got a whole bunch of copyright strikes from it. Had to delete it because it was originally produced by the BBC. Jamie might be in trouble for playing this, but whatever.
In the wetlands of Mississippi. You could possibly conceive, and as it turns out, the cleanest. Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you, it's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh, NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
So that's actually, like I said, that's called the J2X doghouse gas generator cycle engine. And you can look this stuff up. You got to know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm gonna call you on all the little details because I'm a prick. You know, that's my job. Jim Lee, prick of the internet. But whatevs. So yes, this is the J2X doghouse rocket, and it is a liquid rocket engines J2X RS-25 General. You can look up all kinds of stuff on this. In fact, I was just looking over here. All that matters is balance inside the, you know, there's lots of links on it. Just look up J2X and you can read all about it. It's a liquid fueled cryogenic rocket. And yes, it was one of the loudest facilities in the world. But whenever he's talking about the wet surface air coolers, I have all those. Like, you know, if you want to actually see those, you can go to ClimateViewer 3D. Why my start menu not want to go away? Why just hanging out down here? I told you, automatically hide, disappear, go away. Go away. Anyway, behave. So you come here to ClimateViewer 3D, go to history and science, go to energy and pollution, and then start turning on all the nuclear reactors. And you can go actually look at every single one of these wet surface air coolers. So what I'll do is, and also coal power plants have these as well. So you can see them. These are all the coal power plants. There's a lot of them, as you can see, but we won't focus on those. We'll just, because Darlene, Dealine Parole, she kept saying, let's talk about nuclear. How come you don't talk about nuclear anymore? So let's bring up some nuclear real quick and let's see what the hell a wet surface air cooler actually looks like. And you can do that simply by coming here. And then you can fly into any one of these and just basically, you know, pick one and then fly down to the ground by clicking this, and you will see in almost every single case wet surface air coolers. Now, no, that's nuclear storage. This is what I expected. I said I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pick one, and I should have probably did this before I started the video, but I started so damn late that I was just like, just jump on it. That one clearly has them. Unlock the thing. And those are the wet surface air coolers. See? So these are everywhere. Almost every single nuclear facility uses nuclear fusion to boil water, and these release the water vapor. So as you start to look around at all, and trust me, finding 440 nuclear reactors is not easy, okay? But I went and I found them all. And as you start to look at these are the reactors. And almost in every case, not in every case, obviously, because I've already gone to 3 and I've only found 2. Let's see if we can just find some from the pictures themselves. That's an older one. But basically all of these reactors, every single one of these, the ones that he's seeing, you know, and he's showing in the videos, they all seem to be along the Mississippi. So what do you see here? Damn it, I left it locked. Unlock. Wet surface air coolers right here. And they'll be at every single nuclear facility. Some of them have those really big towers above them to use for the cooling facilities. But, you know, you could take your time, go through these, look for yourself, and you can see the coolers. like that right there. Unlock, bring over here. Where'd it go? That is a cooling tower. Water vapor comes out of it. It is a wet surface air cooler. It does affect weather. It creates clouds just like that rocket did. And yes, this is also a no-fly zone for GeoengineeringWatch. He will not talk about it. He never will. And that's not to say that, you know, I never had problems with Weather War 101 my damn self, because we butted heads many times. But that doesn't really matter.
And because Mr. Wigington's always talking about credible evidence, this is from a documentation from Engineers Scientific Study from 1971 on what? Wet surface air coolers. I'll include this in the documentation as well. So here you see the patents that are taken out in 1971, wet surface air coolers. Why Mr. Wigington continues to deny that wet surface air coolers are not possible because it takes up too much water and all these plants around the world. He won't investigate or look into all the documentation or all the patents that are out there. You have to ask him. All right, so when I started questioning Mr. Wigington about wet surface air coolers, next wrap.
All right, this is where we're going to get into the fireworks. Because what do we all have in common? Max Bliss, myself, Jamie Lee, A Plain Truth, Renette Senham now, who's doing that geoengineering lawsuit that I've been covering in the last couple videos. What we all have in common is that Dane likes to threaten people with copyright law. This is a legal throw-in son of a bitch if there ever was one. He constantly is trying to threaten somebody with copyright infringement because there can only be one Dane Wigington. Don't try to piss in his pool. Don't even try to. Because Julio Gomez is coming to the rescue. Gomez LLC. I'm going to show you his first. And it's ironic because the guy probably just reused the damn one that he wrote to me because it says, Dear James Lee. Anyway.
Add a next generation radar, Doppler radar for steering the weather, the cloud condensation nuclei, why barium is used to bond with the cloud condensation dye, which Mr. Wigington does not cover. Will not cover the dangers of barium, but not what it's used for. So this is what happens when you get on the bad side of Mr. Wigington. He files copyright site.
Zip Zap says, is this really all you got? A smear? No new content? No nano balloon information? What happened to you? Well, Zip Zap, this is new content because most people don't know that Dane Wigington is a fucking shill who literally threatens and sues everybody to shut them up so that he can be the only one you listen to. And that's COINTELPRO at its finest. So I would definitely call this new content for most of the people who are going to see this because I'm not deleting this video. I have made 4 videos about this son of a bitch over the last 15 years. I have deleted them all. There is nothing on planet Earth, including Julio Gomez and Dane Wigington, coming up face to face to me, which would be a big mistake, that's going to make me delete this video. Fuck him and fuck you. You can leave if you don't like this not new content. God, these people, dude. I'm going to put your ass on blast. Like, I'm watching chat. Trust me, I am watching the hell out of chat. I would keep the chat up, but the damn Streamlabs chat box just acts stupid when it comes to YouTube. I can't help that. I can't fix that. But we can definitely put your ass on blast. So watch it in the comments because I'm reading every single one as we're doing this. But let's see what Dane looks like under the surface when he's using his lawyer to threaten other people who talk about geoengineering or anything.
Strikes against you. February 13th, 2018. His lawyer, I represent Dane Wigington. I'm writing to you to request a cease and desist from violating copyrights. I'm sorry. I thought the internet was free.
I thought
How
it was
can
free
you violate
too.
something that's free, Mr. Wigington? You recently submitted a frivolous and unsupportable counter notification. Your actions have cost my client time, expense, and aggravation to rebut your inaccurate counter notification with this.
Oh no, Dane's been aggravated. No lawyer worth his salt would write some shit like this. And mine's even worse, okay? Like, just wait for it. You recently submitted a frivolous and unsupportable counter notification. So for those who aren't in the YouTube world, here's how it works. You upload a video. Dane Wigington, piece of shit, puts in a copyright claim saying you violated his copyright. Now, the reason why he wasn't able to do that when I literally played his entire interview with RFK Jr. Because guess what, Dane? I read all the laws to a T. And reaction videos, as long as they are transformative and critical, and you don't, just play it from beginning to end, you interrupt it and you talk about it and you give your perspective on it, where you agree, where you disagree. That is the definition of fair use. So now you're never going to be able to pull that shit on me. I'm literally going to play the entire Deming documentary. I'm going to title it The Dumbing. And I'm going to probably have to break it into 4 parts just so that I can go, this part is true, this part is bullshit, all the way through your film. And there'll be nothing you can do about it. Nothing Julio can do about it. Nothing YouTube can do about it. And it'll be mirrored all over the damn internet. And there's nothing you can do about it. Because guess what? When you got nothing to lose, you only stand to gain. And all I want to do is tell the truth about what a piece of shit you are. But let, Julio tell you all about it. So, your actions have cost my client time, expense. Expense, why? Because he's got to pay you, Julio? He's not paying you. I guarantee you that Julio Gomez is a friend of Dane's and doing all of this for free. I highly doubt that Dane is paying a lawyer to literally write emailed letters threatening people, because he wrote me one. Nothing ever happened to it. But anyway, expense and aggravation to rebut your inaccurate counter notification with this service provider, YouTube. If you succeed in interfering with GeoengineeringWatch copyrights, you will be liable for compensatory and potentially punitive damages. I urge you to consult with an attorney before you incorporate GeoengineeringWatch videos in any of your further posts or on your website. I hereby place you on notice that you are misinformed, that you risk incurring liability under the Copyright Act. Rest assured that GeoengineeringWatch will monitor any future activities of this nature and are prepared to take legal action to prevent any damages to or interference with Dane Wigington or geoengineeringwatch.org. Please be guided accordingly. Now, I want to see, I wasn't going to show this yet, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's see, exactly how close that lines up with my lawsuit email. It says, Dear Mr. Franklin. Boy, I got that wrong. James F. Lee Jr. This is September 14th, 2017. Gomez LLC. Oh, we're going to put you on blast. I was not kidding. I'm going to put your ass on blast tonight, bitch. You sent this same fucking lawyer after Renette, who's trying to sue geoengineers right now. You threatened her with a lawsuit. You threatened somebody who's trying to do something who just came into this field. I'm done with you bullying people around with your stupid fucking lawyer. Period. So Dane Wigging, piece of shit extraordinaire, had his backstory. You probably want to know why. Let's go to the end real quick and just read. I hereby place you on notice that you are misinformed and you risk incurring liability when you falsely claim copyright infringement. I did it to him. I copyright claimed him. And why did I do that? because this prick, and I'll just bring up the emails, this prick stole my information and put it on GeoengineeringWatch, my patent list, and other documents, which I can show you right now. So I submitted a Digital Millennium Copyright Act claim against GeoengineeringWatch to his host provider, GoDaddy, and we received your submission, track and trademark and copyright claims at GoDaddy. And then, of course, that didn't go so well. Incident in reference to geoengineeringwatch.org. We received your copyright infringement complaint and we are investigating it now. We will follow up once we've completed the process. Copyright department, GoDaddy, blah, blah, blah. So that's when I got the little, lawsuit threat from Julio and company. I represent Dane Wigington and geoengineeringwatch.org. I'm writing you because you recently submitted a frivolous and unsupportable claim of copyright infringement to GoDaddy. Yeah, I'm going to do to you what you've been doing to everybody else. You destroyed Max Bliss's channel. You literally you did it to Jamie Lee. In fact, I have a copy because Dane doesn't have any security on his freaking website. So if you go to, and you guys can all play along at home, link in the details. This is Dane Wigington's website, and he doesn't know how to turn off index options on his Apache server. That's a shame. And by the way, Dane, I downloaded everything from this folder. I have every single PDF and doc from your server on my hard drive and burned on a Blu-ray. You can't take this one back. And all the way down here at the very, 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 very bottom, what do I see? I see this. YouTube copyright claim. New copyright counter notification. February 5th, 2018. Counter notification as follows. Display name of uploader, aplaintruth.info. This is what Jamie Lee wrote after Dane Wigington. He kept it. Do you understand what happened here? He's literally got it on his freaking website right down here at the bottom. YouTube copyright claim. It's at the very bottom. No. Stop what you do. Control end. YouTube copyright claim right here at the bottom. This PDF. So I can verify what Jamie's saying right here. Why? Because Dane's so stupid, he kept a freaking trophy on his website, and you can read exactly what he wrote. All footage taken falls under fair use of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, 1998. Therefore, no breach of privacy or copyright has been committed. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is commercial nature or is non-profit educational purposes, I swear under penalty of perjury that I have a good faith belief that the material was removed due to a mistake or misidentification of the material, or to be removed or disabled. I consent to the jurisdiction of the federal district court and the district in which my address is located, or if my address is outside the United States, the judicial district in which YouTube is located, and will accept services and processes from the claimant, James W. Lee, and his address and phone number, apparently, and his email. So Dane kept this on a public server because he loves it. He loves the power that he wields with his lawsuit threats. So what did Dane do to Jimbo? You might be asking, Jim, why you got your panties in a wad? What's the big deal? Well, I looked at this page, and this is where the patent plagiarist, you remember this thing? This was what the video was originally about. But anyway, I looked at this page. I just put it in chat. And down here at the bottom, I saw this Geoengineering Company Directory. This motherfucker literally lies so much that when he's stealing people's hard work, he then relabels it geoengineering. None of this is geoengineering. This comes from, wait for it, my article called Weather Modification Corporations, Universities, and Derivative Traders from December 2013. And originally, this was on my blog, resonated.net. The first time I posted it was in 2011. So what did Dane do? He went and he stole this too. So I'll go to this real quick and we'll just look. I'm going to scroll past the top and down here to the older part of the document that he actually stole. So here we go. Texas Weather Modification Association. You'll come down here. You'll see the conferences. Here's the conferences. Underneath that, the Weather Modification Association, Weather Derivatives, CME Group, AccuWeather, Artemis. What do we have here? Chicago Mercantile Exchange. See, I updated this from when he actually stole it originally. Weather derivatives companies, AccuWeather, Artemis, Bespoke. The list goes on. It's the exact copy. I mean, it's the same stuff. I even put, there's my weather derivatives image. There's the weather derivatives image. I know this is my image because I actually clipped it out of a PDF and made it. He also doesn't have this one because he stole the original document from my old blog on resonated.net in 2011. Is Jim and Dane a part of Divide and Conquer? No. I want everybody else but Dane to come together because there is no way in hell Dane is ever going to come together with anybody. He attacks everybody. You don't see me attacking anybody else. I'm not attacking Dane right now. I'm criticizing him because I think he's a piece of shit. Attacking him would be getting in a car and going to California and there would be no Dane. That's attack. That's violence. I don't approve of violence. That's why I say attack ideas, not people. Attack ideas means you can call a motherfucker a dumbass. Because guess that what? That's how normal people talk. Shit, that's how presidents talk now. But you can't violently attack people. So there's the difference. I have to keep repeating this because people are trying to say, well, you know, are you what happened to attack ideas, not people? I'm attacking what he does and what he stands for. The idea of this motherfucker using the legal system to harass and intimidate other people who are trying to stop geoengineering is disgusting. And people should know about it. So not only do you steal that, but then I put other weather modification companies, Acquiesce, Drake, Mateo Systems, Australian Rain Technologies, Ionogenics. What do you have here? There's the Texas Weather Modification Association, all of the same things. Texas Weather Modification Association, still copy paste, other Acquiesce, Drake, International, Mateo Systems, Australian Rain Technology. You get the idea. He literally copy pasted the shit and then rebranded it Geoengineering. He does not give credit. That is the definition of copyright infringement. But that's not the only time he did it. Extensive list of patents. And you know, same thing here. He's got this whole list of patents. You guys have seen it. He was on freaking Alex Jones, and Alex Jones like, I can't believe all this amazing work you did, Dane, putting together this patent list. It's just so impressive. Holy shit, Dane, I want to kiss your rectum like I want to suck on it. But I was interviewed by InfoWars at Global Warming and Inconvenient Lie with G. Edward Griffin, and they're never going to show that footage because I showed NSA facilities and I showed all kinds of stuff that will never make it onto Infowars.com. However, Dane Wigington, he gets a front row seat. So, of course, once again, same patent list, exact same stuff. This is what I sued him over. Okay, so this is what I copyright claimed him over. And this is his lawyer saying, you submitted a frivolous and unsupportable claim. Well, I even supplied, I supplied the Wayback Machine timestamps showing when I originally created the patent list and when Dane created the patent list. And you can clearly see that he literally stole what I used. I got an original patent list from somebody else who had made one a long time ago. And then I went and I linked all those directly to free patents online. And then I went and I expanded on that. Now I've got a new list because this was only about 300. And the way you know for a fact that it's the same list is you come down here to the end, and what happens is you'll see that it goes to 2003, okay? It goes to 2003, and then there's one in 2011. And what do you see on Dane's list? Right down here at the end? Pretty much the same thing. He's got a couple extra in here now that have been added since. So obviously, I've got the original video. In fact, it's right here. And you can see that when I showed this the last time, it was exactly the same. My new patent list is literally 3,300 patents, but we won't even get into that. So that's what the lawsuit was about, or the copyright claim. And this is what Dane does. He sicks his lawyer on you. He makes threats. Your actions have cost my client time, expense, and aggravation to rebut your bogus claim. It's literally a copy pasta of the exact same thing Jamie Lee got. It's the same thing. This dude literally, Julio Gomez, Dane Wigington, email admin@geoengineeringwatch.org. I forgot about that. Anyway, I'll just not speak about that right now. Your actions have cost my client all this. Had you succeeded in interfering with Mr. Wigington's contract with GoDaddy, you would be liable to him and his site for compensatory and potentially punitive damages. It's exact same words that are in his. You'd be liable for compensatory and potentially punitive damages. It's just like a copy pasta threat from lawyers, from Dane's lawyer that he uses against anybody else who talks about geoengineering. What does this tell you? You tell me what to think about this. Is this a piece of shit or what? Or am I just crazy?
Service provider. I hereby place you on notice that you are misinformed and that you risk incurring liability under the Corporate Act. So he's threatening me, folks, like he threatened Michael Murphy and called up Michael Murphy's family, who he did a movie with.
He called up Michael Murphy's family members. And I remember Michael Murphy literally on Facebook begging people for a place to stay, because his entire family said, we don't want anything to do with you. And is it any surprise that Michael ended up dying alone? Because this prick had befriended Michael and knew his family members and then told them all this stuff and ruined his life. That's the lowest scumbag move I've ever heard of.
What in the world are they spraying? Followed up by, why are the world are they spraying? And Mr. Wigington, even though Michael Murphy had some drinking and abuse issues, Mr. Wigington called up his family to make sure they knew. And he totally subterfuged Mr. Murphy from putting out another movie that he wanted to put out as well. And basically, as I understand, Mr. Murphy is now broke and desolate. And it was Mr. Wigington who sent him there. Mr. Wigington, in his business side, is not a nice man. So I'm not alone in being attacked by Mr. Wigington. Far from it. Once friends are now frenemies, I guess. But other people as well have become disenfranchised, disenchanted with Mr. Wigington. And it is we all learn our own. So this is why I'm trying to do this, to wake people up and let them know that we have to be discernment and use our own judgment about who we can trust and who we cannot trust. And this was a letter sent to me. I bought everything Dane told me from the beginning. I was recovering from a brain tumor, figured he knew best, but I quickly saw him mistreating people. The first was Michael Murphy. I actually first met Michael in 2011. He introduced me to Dane. He was a friend for years, but he was so messed up that he started lying. I had to step away. I'm personally convinced that he was handpicked by the powers that be to be part of the movement for the sole purpose of discrediting it with his addiction problem. It could and probably goes deeper than that. Michael told me during a more lucid moment that when he went to visit Dane, he had him sleep in a bomb shelter and didn't allow him in the house, which I thought was pretty weird, but I don't think he was lying about it. I take everything Michael says with a grain of salt. It's a long story. I could go on for a while. I won't bore you more, but suffice to say that your account of Dane is all very familiar to me. I would fully expect that this book is unreadable. His writing is awful. He goes into so much technical stuff. The first thing you do when you write is analyze your target audience. What's up with that? I think he deliberately talks over people's heads to try and dazzle them with his expertise. It works. What you found out about the true level of his actual lack of expertise is interesting in that light. Yes, Mr. Wigington, I've had the same experience with him as well, and others have been treated like this. I have other documentation, as you can see in my comment sections, of some of my work on my YouTube channel. All right, so let's break down this article that Dane penned here. Geoengineering is fueling firestorm catastrophes. Many sensationalized narratives and conclusions. I have over 42 videos on direct energy weapons, sir. I have people in the business still in the finance of RAND, of Lockheed, and of BEA Corporation, and I've spoken with them directly. It's not sensationalized narratives. It is fact-based investigative reporting, and I take exception to you calling us out that we don't know what we're talking about. We must not give in and indulge in implausible speculation. And recent and current California fires behaving in unprecedented ways and burning exceptionally high temperatures? Yes. No fireman has even been able to explain how the fire started. Cal Fire Ken Pimlott, the captain, the chief of all Cal Fire, were...
So the rest of the video is pretty much about, his beef with Dane over things that he says, regarding the California fires and directed energy weapons. And I just wanted to see if I could find it real quick. One last thing. Because Dane's got this article out there basically saying that it's a hoax. There's, this is the before and after. This is the real this is the photoshopped version. This is the real version. When it seems like it's actually the opposite. But Dane kind of, outs himself whenever he starts talking about global warming, because Dane believes in global warming. And he goes into showing a whole bunch of, directed energy weapon stuff, which, we all know that's true. The guy talking is, Jamie Lee from aplaintruth.info. His channel, and I'll link the video just so you guys have it. Credit where credit is due. This is kind of what sparked it. But just like what's happening to what happened to Jamie Lee, what happened to many other people, because I'm working with Renette Senum, and I'm trying to help them out with the lawsuit. And I had an initial conversation with her lawyer. One of the first questions that they came at me with was, what about the NOAA gag order? Because Dane references this NOAA gag order many, many times. He says that this is the reason why there's a secret geoengineering project. It's all because Obama ordered a NOAA gag order. And when they asked me about it, I said, well, there's no such thing. There is no gag order. I said, at best, what probably is referred to as a gag order is actually what's called a non-disclosure agreement. Kind of like, hey, if you work for NOAA and we train you to use all of these government taxpayer funded instruments, that you're not allowed to disclose our proprietary technology, much in the same way that NASA EarthView, the website, is on GitHub. It is open source. But if you use it, you have to credit the United States government, and they partially own your website. So similar scenario, the gag order is like an internal non-disclosure agreement kind of thing, not like a censoring all of the weather warfare thing. And I told them this, they were, hesitant to believe this, but then their lawyers reached out to NOAA and got copies of said non-disclosure agreement and confirmation that there is no such thing as a gag order. So what does Dane Wigington do when he hears us saying this thing out loud? He goes and says, just like he did with Jamie just now in the video, there are people out there saying that there's no such thing as a NOAA gag order, but do not listen to them, for they are all full of shit. So I've got, literally, you can look right now. I've got 20 more tabs open. I'm not even going to go into it. I had all kinds of stuff I was going to go into, but I don't see the need. I don't want to talk about his relationship to the HAARP report and how the HAARP report 8 years ago made a video called Chemtrails Are Coal Ash, which started this is the genesis of the coal ash bullshit theory. Came from a guy named the HAARP report. If you have not heard about it, now you have. I'll drop that link in the details in the chat. And Dane was sharing a bunch of the HAARP report's videos, and it struck me as odd that he then said this in his video titled 8 years ago, How to Stop Chemtrails and HAARP. And how does the HAARP report, a guy with no name, no face, no nothing, say we should do that? He says, wait for it, concrete actions to stop chemtrails, HAARP, and prevent runaway Arctic methane venting. Until an international public scientific review is done, stop all chemtrails worldwide. Point number 2, use solar radiation management over the Arctic Ocean, but only in the summer to prevent complete melting. What does Dane Wigington do? He says global warming is real. He says that methane is going to kill us all. Runaway Arctic methane venting. What does it say on the HAARP report's about page? Because I find this kind of ironic. I said, this is somebody else saying the same thing. Did I miss something? Did you just say use SRM over the Arctic? And I literally had, this is me having an argument on Google Plus, something you guys probably don't even remember, March 20th, 2015. And the HAARP report's like, yes, if the Arctic melts, we're all dead. That's his words, not mine. As you can see here. What's up with the zoom? You can't zoom over there. Anyway, that's what he says. So on his about page, if you go to HAARP report's about page, which you can still see, it's still up. Pretty crazy. This is your guy. This is who invented the coal fly ash conspiracy. This is the same guy who said methane's going to kill us all. And then what do you see here? Links. HAARP forcing Arctic melting. If you click that link, where do you end up? You end up on Arctic News Blog. What is Arctic News Blog, Jim? And why the hell are you making this point? Because Arctic News blog is written by Sam Carana and John Neeson. John Neeson and Sam Carana are members of what's called the Arctic Methane Emergency Group. What the hell is that, Jim? Well, I wrote a paper a long time ago in 2014 about Dane Wigington. Didn't know it was about him at the time. But the HAARP report guy who came up with the coal fly ash conspiracy, who said we needed geoengineer to save us all from global warming and methane, he supports what the Arctic Methane Emergency Group supports. So if you look right here, they had 3 proposals. The Arctic Natural Gas Extraction, Liquefaction, and Sales, ANGEL's proposal, and Project Lucy, which is the radio and laser frequency harmonic test ranges for the Lucy and HAARP experiments and their application to atmospheric methane destruction. The idea was to use 3 separate HAARP facilities to compress methane going into the atmosphere into diamond dust. Get it? Project Lucy in the sky with diamonds to reflect sunlight. So this AMEG, Arctic Methane Emergency Group, right here, as you can see, I have a link to it on archive.org, which I tried to bring up, but let's see if it's working now. Oh, looks like it might actually be working now. I'm glad I stuck around long enough. So this was in 2015, so let's just go there now and see if it's actually going to behave. Well, what do we have here? The Arctic Methane Emergency Group, AMEG. And these are the people, John Neeson, Sam Carana. This is what Dane Wigington preaches. You can go and you can verify this yourself by simply going to, articles like this, On Track to Global Extinction, where he talks about the feedback loop of the clathrate gun hypothesis, which is proposed by the Arctic Methane Emergency Group, or just do a simple search on his own website for methane, and you'll get all the results for methane death trap threatens democracy. Geoengineering, methane eruptions, and imploding Arctic ice. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, showing these big holes in the Arctic that are caused by methane. Dane Wigington, his whole agenda, everything he says is just like this. It's like this. It's like scissoring with freaking Arctic Methane Emergency Group. Go to, and I'll drop the link in chat. You can go and read this article, Project Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. You can go to the ameg.me. This is the original website. It has been deleted. I'm pretty sure it's been deleted. Yeah, now it's something totally different. Me Mega, climate change and global warming. I don't even know what this is now, but it's no longer the website it used to be. I can promise you that. Because as you can see here on the Arctic, on the Wayback Machine, oh, that's something totally different. Here you go. So that is what Dane Wigington is preaching. He is preaching the gospel of the Arctic Methane Emergency Group. This is documented on his own website, and you can do a little bit of Google hacking, and you can do things like this: methane site : GeoengineeringWatch.org. And right now it says about 833 results. That's only because Google has literally censored almost everything from his website. You can do the same thing over here. And do they even have a number on Bing? I don't know. But you can see all of the different things. Mass methane release accelerating. Geoengineering, forest fire, incineration. All of these are about methane. Methane and risk of runaway global warming. This is your Geoengineering Watch. This is Dane Wigington, Sam Carana, and John Neeson. And if you want to actually see it, who put this stuff together? This Project Lucy. I've got that on my script, so I don't even need to go to Wayback Machine for that. Project Lucy extended version 4, and it is written by them, the Arctic Methane Emergency Group. And the technology, methane in the air is decomposed between radio transmitters that, turn methane into diamond dust. And they show all these examples. Why start now and all of this blah, 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 blah. And I believe at the end it's got the credits and everything. But these are the individuals that came up with this idea. There's Sam Carana, references Sam Carana, geoengineering.gather.com. Anyway, more pictures from Sam Carana, and the other one was from John Neeson as well. This one right here. And this is actually just available on my old blog right here. From Malcolm PR Light, who's also a member of the Arctic Methane Emergency Group. So when I said my old blog, this is resonated.com. It's r3z8d.wordpress.com, because I got rid of the domains, but still, this is the original. Before anybody knew who Jim Lee was, I was just resonated. Because I didn't ever want my damn face on here. This with Jim Lee got added afterwards. And this was my symbol, was a Guy Fawkes mask with a gas mask and a samurai sword. I think it's pretty obvious by now why that's the case, because right here is the Guy Fawkes mask. Right here is the samurai sword. It's just okay. So anyway, all of this was just to bring attention to the fact that Dane Wigington is a shill for global warming alarmist, what's called runaway global warming, what's called the Clathrate gun hypothesis, which is based on the fact that they went to the North Pole, they dug up an ice core, and in that ice core, they said, right here are dinosaur farts, a lot of CO2 and a little bit of methane. We think this is dinosaur farts. And right above that is a lot of methane. So what we postulate is what's called the Clathrate gun hypothesis. And just so you know, I'm not making this crap up. I'll bring it up on the screen and I will share the link in chat. Clathrate gun hypothesis, straight from Wikipedia, dinosaur farts and all. This is what he believes. This is the basis for what they call runaway global warming. That dinosaur farts melted frozen methane clathrates, which are basically frozen methane underground, under the ocean. And that because dinosaur farts, they melted the methane, which caused runaway global warming, which killed the dinosaurs. Therefore, today, because global warming, we're going to see methane vent into the atmosphere, and that's going to kill everybody. So on top of him being a copyright punk ass bitch, copyright slanging punk ass bitch, he is a global warming shill who believes the Clathrate gun hypothesis, who believes in runaway global warming caused by methane eruption. It's all over his website. I don't know how anybody misses this. I just showed you a whole bunch of examples. You can find hundreds, if not thousands more. Listen to his little podcast. If you don't hear the word methane for the next month, you'll know why, but it'll come back. Even more dangerous than all of that is the fact that Dane Wigington holds a stranglehold on all of the attention diverted to this topic. And he holds it with an iron fist. I've told many people this in the past. As Jamie put it, he does not work with other people. He does not want anybody to talk about anybody else but Dane. If you go, and everybody can do this test yourself, I double dog dare everybody in the sound of my voice who thinks I'm full of shit, go to Geoengineering Watch on YouTube, Facebook, any one of his articles on his website in the comments, and put a link to ClimateViewer.com. Say, have you checked out the timeline? In fact, I'll give you a good example. Let's just do this one because it's a pretty good example. I mean, I think he would appreciate this one. How about this one? We'll just give him this one. Weather modification history. Okay? So I want you to either go and drop this link, climateviewer.com/interactive timeline, where you will see the entire history of weather control and geoengineering, weather modification, and space weather modification all in one spot. From Mexico, bands make sunsets, to David Key's ScopeX, to Iran accuses Israel cloud theft, the entire gamut of weather modification. Go post that anywhere on any of his websites. And here's what's going to happen. You will be banned. Your comment will be deleted, and you'll never be able to comment there again. Because Dane, more than anything, does not want and Jack Walsh, yes, Jack, I was late to the show, so I did not shave. I literally went, I had enough time to go make a cup, get my little bit of coffee and make a glass of water and get in here because I have to work tomorrow, 50 hours this damn week. But the point I'm trying to make to you is everybody keeps saying, why can't you just work with Dane or work it out, man? That would be great if we could all just get along. Well, go try sharing anything that wasn't created by Dane Wigington, especially ClimateViewer.com, because Dane is scared to death of me. Dane will not ever debate me. So go try for yourself. Go on any of Dane's stuff, whether it's social media, whether it's his blog on geoengineeringwatch.org, and try it yourself. And you'll see how he censors any content not created by somebody named Dane Wigington. And if you're not careful and know the law like me, I don't suggest you go playing Dane Wigington's videos and know exactly what you're doing, because you will end up with a copyright claim like he did, like Jamie Lee did, A Plain Truth. Like I did in the past. I won all mine. And then like I did to him, because he's done it to so many other people, like he did to Max Bliss when he took his channel away. So now you know the whole story of why there's such a beef, because most of the research that Dane has done, he's stolen. Most of the research that's on his website, he does not understand. What he slides in between is global warming fear porn and normalization of geoengineering. What he is basically doing is the same thing that his boy, the HAARP report, was doing. He's making a video called How to Stop Chemtrails and HAARP. Dane Wigington saying how to stop geoengineering. And he goes on to say things like, well, use solar radiation management over the Arctic Ocean, but only in the summer to prevent complete melting, to prevent runaway Arctic methane venting. So what Dane is saying is we're all going to die from methane erupting in the atmosphere. Geoengineering is already occurring. And in order to save us from global warming, what do you think his solution is? Ask him. Ask him what his solution is. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Jamie Lee mentions it towards the end of the video. Dane, whatever happened to your solutions? And we'll end with this.
Highly discrediting. Well, where have we seen that before? Well, look at the Pope. He's saying flat earth and climate change, putting it in together. Look at Ted Cruz, the top senators, Republicans, flat earth and climate change. Look at Mr. Wigington. He's combining flat earth and climate change, just like the mainstream media stooges. Mr. Wigington, you've been served. So I was invited to be on the Geoengineering Watch legal team when I was contacted and asked to be signing on to the filing of legal actions in geoengineering. But what has happened to that? Where's that all gone? It's been absolute silence of any activities. All they're doing is actually watching in the legal terms. And the other problem I have with this is that if they legalize geoengineering, all of their work on anti-geoengineering goes away. All the government has to do is say, we're making geoengineering legal, bring it out in the open, acknowledge they've been doing it for 40, 50 years, and all of the work of all the legal team, which we haven't seen any evidence of what's been progressing from Geoengineering's Watch legal team, goes away. I tried to explain this to Mr. Wigington, but he just blew me off. So credibility is very critical in the fight for the greater good. Logic, reason, and due diligence investigation must be part of the equation, or hard-earned credibility is completely sacrificed. Yes, sir, where's your hard-earned credibility? I worked for 25 years on Wall Street, sir. I started out with Furman Cells on the New York Stock Exchange, worked as investment banking, went to Robertson Coleman Stevens in San Francisco, and started my own company, JWL Investments, working as a research analyst in technology and in aerospace, and I am credible. Sir, I don't find you credible, because credibility is extremely difficult to earn.
To clarify, chat, you guys are saying, wait, what? Dane pushes flat earth? No, he is discrediting Jamie Lee, whose website is A Plain Truth, not like airplane, like the plane. He believes in flat earth. So Jamie Lee, James W. Lee, aplaintruth.info, believes in flat earth. I respect his opinion. Okay? He's entitled to that belief. I may not agree with it. Maybe I'm ignorant. The day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong. However, what Jamie is saying here is that Dane Wigington is equating, and I'll back it up real quick in case you guys missed that. He's equating what he says,
quote,
right here.
Created the fires.
What he says right here, such a conclusion is not irrational given that about the demeanor of those in power. Many of the sites and sources pushing the laser beams directed energy beams created the fires false narrative are also propagating the flat earth and global warming is a hoax, false, and highly discrediting narratives. That's Dane Wigington's words. And he doesn't name names because he's such a bitch. He doesn't want to name Jamie Lee or A Plain Truth because then people might go look it up. They might go look up what Jamie Lee has to say. He always talks in very wide terms, Many of the sites and sources pushing laser beams and directed energy beams create fires, false narrative, are also propagating the flat earth and global warming is a hoax, false and highly discrediting narratives. How many people here think that global warming is a hoax is a false and highly discrediting narrative? Raise your hands, please. I'd like to know because I'm truly interested in that. Because what I would suggest you do is go to CO2coalition.org. And when you do, I'd like you to look up Get the Facts. Because if it's just, it's just complete bullshit, it's easily disproven. then maybe you might want to know the truth about climate change and CO2 and the bullshit that Dane Wigington is claiming. Like, go get the facts. And I don't know why this website just jumped straight at the bottom, but, fact number 1, 140 million year trend of dangerously decreasing CO2. Fact number 2, the warming effect of each molecule of CO2 declines as concentration increases. How many times have you heard me say this, people? Fact number 3, first and foremost, CO2 is plant food. Number 4, in the last 4 glacial advances, the CO2 level was dangerously low. CO2 emissions began accelerating in the mid-20th century. Our current geologic period, quaternary, has the lowest average CO2 levels in the last 600 million years. Okay? And the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And I would suggest you go, listen to people who actually know what they're talking about on climate change. Don't listen to Dane Wigington on this at all. But he says global warming is a hoax, false, and highly discrediting narrative. So what Jamie Lee was pointing out was that he said flat Earth and global warming is a hoax together. And
false narrative are also propagating. He ties it in to flat earthers. But look what he does. Flat Earth and global warming is a hoax. False and highly discrediting. Well, where have we seen that before? Well,
we've seen it from the Vatican. Vatican compares Trump to flat earthers over his climate agreement withdrawal. That Trump is a flat earther climate denier.
The Pope, he's saying flat Earth and climate change, putting it in together. Look at Ted Cruz, the top senators, Republicans, flat Earth and climate change. Look at Mr. Wigington. He's combining flat Earth and climate change, just like the mainstream media stooges. Mr. Wigington, you've been served.
So now I think you get it. I think you get it. You should get it. But he goes on to this legal team thing. And the whole point is this. Right now, Renette sent them and Save Our Skies and Gen 7, their group, they're trying to actually bring a lawsuit against Make Sunsets to make an example of Luke Eisman and his partner so that they make geoengineers think twice before spraying crap into the atmosphere, because they can be held liable in a court of law. And Dane Wigington not only has served one of these Julio Gomez lawyer messages to Renette, he's also been sending her emails, messaging her saying, this lawsuit's a bad idea and doing everything he can to poo-poo on the lawsuit. So, that's why you see on this page, and I wondered when I first covered this, because I didn't know anything about it, and I was like, I got to get in touch with these people at the Stop U.S. Geoengineering Legal Fund Give, Send, Go, is this little disclaimer. 100% of your donations is tax deductible and will go directly to legal cost. This legal fund has no association with GeoengineeringWatch. The reason that's on there is because she got that lawyer threat from Dane Wigington for using a small clip in this video, and he said, I want nothing to do with this. And you will make sure that people know that, and you will remove my clip. Dane does not have a lawsuit. His legal team is non-existent. He has no solution. He is nothing but fear porn. He preaches fear porn. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the demoralizer. It is the reason why it causes people to shut down and not act on shit. And meanwhile, he does everything he can to silence anybody else who tries to do something about it. When I went to the EPA hearing in 2015, He attacked not only me, but everybody that came with me to speak there. Max Bliss, Patrick Roddy, Amanda Bays. He attacked us all. He also did it using Russ Tanner from Chemtrails Global Skywatch. I couldn't get into Russ Tanner's forum to show you all the nasty things that he said before this video, but you get the idea. You can go find it yourself. So that's my point, that we have this guy who is just the reason there is no chemtrail community. The reason there is no geoengineering activist community is because nobody can agree on anything. And anybody who tries to make some noise about us or tries to do something about this, he will go out and actively discredit you. He will attack you. He will censor you on any of his platform because he does not want to share the limelight. He does not want to share the spotlight. And you ask yourself this: if the guy believes in global warming, if the guy is on all of the big channels, if the guy's making it onto, Alex Jones and all of these other spots, why? Why nobody else? Ask yourself, really ask yourself, what's going on there? I still say, go listen to Dane Wigington. Maybe there'll be a nugget or two of truth in it. But please also check out my stuff. Check out Jamie Lee's stuff at aplaintruth.info. I could be wrong. Maybe the world is flat. Maybe I should spend more time looking into it. I'm not going to make a decision on that because I'm ill-informed on it. I simply don't care enough to look into it. I don't see how it really affects my life, to be honest with you. But I know that geoengineering affects my life, and I know that we agree on that. Directed energy weapons, you're damn right. It scares the hell out of me. I've been hit with one before on my beach vacation. It was not fun. I am currently going to get MRIs on my brain and spine in the next 2 weeks because I have been having massive migraines for the last 2 years. Since I had my thyroid removed, since my thyroid died on me. So that's where we're at. You guys check it out. Watch the video yourself. Reach out to Jamie Lee. Tell him what you think. Support Chris Haskell. I don't know what Chris's story is right now, but last I heard he was in a whole bunch of legal troubles. I hope he's out of that by now. Patrick Roddy, missing in action. Suzanne Marr, missing in action. Targeted individual. Matt Landman, missing in action. Targeted individual. Now all he does is sell EMF clothes. Doesn't talk about chemtrails anymore. It's getting really lonely around here. Because lately it's just me and Dane. That shouldn't be the way things are. And I hope that it changes in the near future. And maybe through some group pressure, we can convince him to stop being such an asshole and work with everybody else and not think he's got it all figured out. And, be open to discussion. So with that being said, thank you for allowing me to rant. This has been weighing heavy on my chest, and it feels so much better just to let it out on the internet and just be able to say it. And Carl, I'm glad I didn't take it either. I can't say it because, the YouTube overlords will immediately strike down my channel with furious anger. But no, I didn't take that thing. Anyway, now you guys know, and I barely even scratched the surface. I didn't get into the whole, cyber stalking, gang stalking that happened before all of this. Some very prominent names that you guys would know. I'm going to let that one lie. And for the people who've been here a very long time, you already know about it. So I'm not going to bring it up. Tonight was about Dane Wigington. Prick. And now I've said what I got to say. You be the judge. Am I just overblowing this thing? Should I, not give a shit that he's out there threatening everybody with lawyers and making sure that he shuts down anybody who talks about the same thing he talks about? Maybe I'm the asshole. Am I the asshole? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, if it resonates with you, please share it. If you want to support my stuff, you can go to ClimateViewer.com. Links to donate, support the channel are at the bottom. The difference between me and Dane, we broke over here. I'm in the finest double wide ever provided by the Illuminati, and I'm perfectly happy to be in it. I don't have a off the grid house, on 90 acres with a bunker, to stuff Michael Murphy into. I don't have all that, but I will continue to, as long as I am physically able, come on here and tell you the truth about what I feel and what I've researched. And if you don't like it, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. You may unsubscribe, you may fuck off, and I will not miss you, because I am not beholden to anybody. Nobody will ever make me hold my tongue, and I will speak what's on my mind. So that being said, not only can you support me and my channel, and my family, my wife of 23 years, my 2 daughters, 13, 7 years old. This is like, the only other way, other than working 50 hours a week, that I make money. I appreciate everybody who supports my channel, but you can also get actively involved in something that is going to make a difference, and I believe in. I don't get any money for this, but I'm telling you, go to the Stop US Geoengineering Legal Fund, and you can find that at GibsonGo/Stop US Geoengineering Legal Fund. Actual action from actual activists actually activating, not just bloviating about the end of the world, global warming, and pipes and pumps and all the bullshit that scares people. Graphene's everywhere. Woo! I hope you're scared. Anyway, rant's over. Have a nice week. I hope you all have a wonderful time this week. Attack ideas, not people. Video resonates with you, leave me a comment, because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.